With Red Fiber, ang saya maging tambahay. Reliable 100% fiber internet. May 24/7 customer service pa.
Bahay namin naka-Red Fiber. Tumbahay na!
Red Fiber, reliability redefined.
It all started in 1985. Total Information Management Corporation, or TIM, was founded by Jose Marie Antunes, with his two lifetime friends on board, Roberto A. Laizon and Jacinto R. Perez Jr. With his hard work and passion for customer success, our chairman, Mr. Antunes, made TIM, his flagship company, what it is today. One of the Philippines' leading and most enduring systems integrators with sound financial standing and sustainable growth. This is complemented by 119 capable employees with skill sets that total 130 certifications on various operational and technology disciplines. We have since evolved from selling IT hardware products to providing complex line of business industry solutions in various industries with distinct relevance in the financial services sector. TIM persistently endeavors to be relevant to our set of enterprise customers by ensuring we carry the best-of-breed global solutions as we continue to evolve to provide products and services that are game-changing and adaptive to the current times. In 1994, TIM has officially pioneered the data center services in the country as we set our very first data center footprint in Kings Court, Makati. Over 2 decades later, we're now operating 2 company-owned, true-to-form, Tier 3 telco-agnostic data centers in Carmona and Makati, with over 500 racks in total and expanded disaster recovery seats facility, totaling to over 330 seats. We equally provide on-site satellite and radio facility services. TIM's global network services and telco neutrality highly benefits our set of existing and potential customers. Our global cloud services are connected to data centers globally. We close the year 2018 with pride as we achieve our banner year by making it the most profitable year ever in TIM history. Today, our data centers service over 70 enterprise customers. We are the leading data center services provider in the financial services sector. TIM has also been the backbone technology partner for the Credit Information Corporation, used by all financial institutions as the Central Credit Bureau, mandated by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas and Securities and Exchange Commission. We are proud to run the most connected, versatile, and resilient data center in the country. We are enhancing the Carmona Data Center with a soon-to-rise 60-meter tower for radio facility. TIM brings the best in information and business technology through strategic partnerships with the world's most reputable brands. And this is what sets us apart. TIM steps up as we transition to become a managed services focused company that serve both local and global customers. Beyond technology, TIM continuously strives to be an integral part of our customer success. We envision to drive business solutions as a service with our existing and next generation data center build-out, equipped with 800 to 1,000 rack facility hosting and partnered with major global content operators. For 2019 and beyond, TIM will be relentless in our goal to be the most relevant IT business partner for both local and global customers. Enabling business through strategic long-term business partnerships. TIM gets IT done.
morning, everyone, and welcome to RaDex, the Radius Digital Exchange. My name is Charlotte Ferguson, your host for today. Thank you for joining us this morning for our fourth episode, Security as a Service, Shift from Defense to Offense. Today, we'll be unboxing world-class security service for enterprises, together with Total Information Management, or TIM, and its global brand partners, Nexus Guard, Imperva, and RSA. Joining us this morning is Mr. Beng Manahan, Head Enterprise Business at Radius Telecoms.
Yeah, thank you, Charlotte, and good morning to everyone. Welcome to Radio's fourth episode of RaDex, Unboxing Digital. As a leading ICT solutions provider, Radius is here to help empower your business by providing you with the best tools and sharing the best practices in digitalization. The pandemic has really taken a toll in the way your business operates. Companies have been more prone to cyber attacks due to lack of security. It's now time that we take action and avoid these circumstances. We at Radius, TIM, and our global brand partners have prepared an in-depth discussion on how to take a more active stance when it comes to protecting your company against the growing threats and more sophisticated cybersecurity attacks. With our advanced security as a service portfolio, your assets are protected so you can worry less and keep your business up and running. We hope that this webinar will be beneficial to your business and hope that you will make the right steps to ensure business continuity. Thank you and good morning to everyone.
Thank you. And for that kind introduction to today's episode, Sir Beng, and we are indeed looking forward to the in-depth discussion for this morning. Now, to lead us through what's new in the industry, here to discuss the landscape of enterprise cybersecurity in the Philippines is Radius's Head of Business Development, Mr. Al Solis.
Thank you, Charlotte, and a great morning to everyone. The digital sphere is growing to a more sophisticated by the minute. As companies shifted to digital, incidents of sophisticated, targeted, and carefully executed cybersecurity attacks also grew. Some of the most recent and popular cases of cyber attacks include a large commercial bank wherein their subscribers' bank account were compromised. Another case of cyber attack affected a large supermarket with its subscribers' record being hacked. And other major companies, from pawn shop to food chains to media company. And there are other major incidents of cyber attacks. This happened because these companies are still on the defense, being reactive rather than planning ahead and twilight securing their network. In today's episode, we at Radius, together with our partners from TIM, are here to urge you to shift from defense mode to offense mode. The implementation of AI-based solutions can help you put on the defense before your systems are compromised. And this technology is already available here today with Radius Pay-as-you-go Security as a Service, or what we like to call SECAAS. Our SECAAS portfolio is enabled by our partner TIM, a world-class technology solutions provider who has proven track record of reliable, innovative solutions catering to a wide range of businesses, from the largest conglomerates to multinational corporations, and even small and forward-looking companies. Under our SECAAS arsenal are distinct services led by three of the largest names in network security. Imperva, RSA, and Nexus Card, which later our guest speakers will discuss in closer detail. Again, we urge you to shift from defense and reactive to offensive and proactive. Build and strengthen a credible defense posture against cyber attacks. We are here with you on your journey towards protecting your network and digital assets so that you can achieve your highest goal for security and data protection with ease and peace of mind. Thank you, and may you find the peace of mind you need as we go on with our session today. Again, good morning, everyone.
Thank you so much, Sir Al, for giving us a quick overview of the cybersecurity landscape in the Philippines today. I completely agree. It is best to take a more proactive stance of protecting yourself beforehand rather than sitting idly back until you're caught unaware by a cyber attack like those illustrated earlier. And that's exactly what our security as a service portfolio can address. We're off to a great start with these wonderful insights into the industry, and I'm sure there are some questions brewing out there, but don't worry, we will be having a Q&A with our speakers at the end of our show, so just type in your questions in the chat box at any time, and our speakers will respond to them in our later segment. But before we move on to our next speaker, I would like to invite everyone to please turn on your cameras for a quick photo op. That's right, turn on your cameras right now so that you can be included in our, memory. So we'll wait for everyone to turn on your cameras, and then we're going to practice our big smiles, okay? We are going to practice smile number 1, Mona Lisa smile, just, no teeth. Smile number 2, maybe with teeth. And then probably smile number 3 with a little ha-ha. How about that? Let's do the ha-ha. Okay, 1 we'll do the with teeth, and then later on we'll do a ha-ha moment so that all of us looks like we're having fun. So we all look like this is going to be a morning to remember. So turn on your cameras, please, everyone. If you keep it off, it's like being on defense mode. So please turn it on so we can be on offense mode, which we are, trying to be in theme, even with our class picture for today. Are you turning on your cameras yet? Do we have everyone on? Come on, we want to make sure you're all having a good time, and we hope we'll be able to see it in your faces. In fact, hint, a while ago when I was talking about our smiles, we are offering a prize to whoever will have the biggest, most dazzling smiles in the crowd. So make sure you post your best. So a prize. I hope that's good enough for you to turn on your cameras and give us your biggest smiles. That's right. I guess number 1, Mona Lisa, that's out. Number 2 with teeth, maybe that's in. Number 3 with haha. Okay, I think that's the winning pose. So we're all ready. I see some of you are already, your camera's on. Thank you very much for that. So we'll be taking the haha photo in 1, 2, 3. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Ready? Okay, 3, 2, 1, smile. All right, great job, guys. Okay, and we'll have 1 more. How about a classic one? No haha, just teeth, okay? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Cheese. There you go. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating in our class picture. I'm sure you would love to have one, right? As a memory of today. Thank you. I saw a lot of really great smiles contending for our prize. Remember, there was a prize for that one. Stay tuned as we'll be announcing the winners of our biggest smile contest in the next segments. With that, let's move right on to the next speaker. He is a solutions consultant for Exclusive Networks PH with over 6 years of experience handling Imperva web application firewall. Let us all welcome Mr. Ralph John B. Alzaga.
Organizations today face
share na
constant
po ba yung
threats
aking
of cyber attacks, and network firewalls aren't enough. Websites, applications, and APIs need specialized protection against exploits and attack traffic. You need reliable protection that's easy to enable and effortless to manage. Security can't be a bottleneck to performance. It shouldn't need constant tuning to accurately block attacks. No one wants to be swamped with false positives and unnecessary alerts.
Hello?
Imperva WAF provides the answer. Built on a secure content delivery network that guarantees uptime and faster loading websites with advanced caching and routing. The first line of defense against malicious website traffic. Easily enabled with a simple DNS change and designed to be zero touch right out of the box. No hardware or software required. With crowdsourced attack traffic analytics from across our global network, plus our groundbreaking false positive reduction, our PCI-compliant WAF automatically stops attackers in their tracks. Backed by our 24/7 Imperva security experts who monitor and block malicious website attacks and fake page requests, protecting your servers from overload and reducing bandwidth costs. Simplified security investigation with incident summaries showing the pattern of events in plain language to help you quickly understand what's happening to your website and why it matters. The analytics enhance your investigation ability in security information and event management platforms with easy integrations. One less thing for your team to worry about. Thousands of our customers trust Imperva to protect their data. We're here to help at imperva.com.
Hi. Good morning. Can you see my screen now? Yeah. Okay. So, good morning, everyone. I am Ralph Zaga, a solutions consultant in Exclusive Networks, a distributor of Imperva in the Philippines, and I am excited to share to you guys what is Imperva Cloud WAF. Now, to start with, I would like to talk about what is the current trend in the Philippines now or globally. Well, in the past few years, some companies are slowly moving to digitalize their products and services. When the global pandemic started, businesses found its way to adapt by converting their offerings to a digital form. And the web and mobile applications were developed as a way to continue business via online, and it made transactions easy. Now that we are going back to normal, most of us adopted the use of these applications. This web and mobile application are producing data and are stored in a database. Now, the data now is a major source of business revenue, and these data are useful and can be sold in the black market. Or the data itself could be a digital money. And this is the reason why hackers are targeting these applications. And I would like also to mention the proliferation of APIs that is being used for business to business and business to customers. These APIs are also a gateway to your database. That's why it's being targeted by these users that has a malicious intent. Now, with the web and mobile application that generates revenue, we should highly prioritize it to secure, or we highly prioritize it to secure it. Now, securing a web application, we all know that it's not an easy task. We need to look for a solution that supports on-prem or even those applications that are publicly hosted, or both. The deployment should be fast and with high accuracy, so it can protect our web application, and we can enjoy already the value that it brings that adds up to our confidence in our web application security posture. Now, let's talk about the web Imperva Cloud WAF. When we publish the web application, not only legitimate users can access the web application once it is published on the internet. Even the people who have malicious intent or the so-called hackers. Well, it's no surprise that organizations are facing a lot of bad traffic alongside with the legitimate users. And we don't want those bad traffic. With the vast web application nowadays, it offers a lot of services, digital products, and e-commerce. And it means there is money involved. Now, Imperva Cloud is deployed between your web application and application users. Imperva Cloud WAF will protect your web application by examining the connection request from a user and matching it to a known attack from its database. And that falls under the negative security model. We have two security models, and we will talk about it later. Another one is it also checks if there is a match in the blocking policy. And we also do profiling. Imperva Cloud WAF blocks the unwanted traffic. It first go to our scrubbing data center, and what will your data center receives is only the legitimate traffic to your web application. Now, this is an overview of what Imperva Cloud WAF offers. Imperva Cloud WAF has a lot to offer. It has a lot of features, but I would like to talk about the three aspects that it focuses. Well, we all know, or it was known, that Imperva Cloud WAF is a security solution that protects web application. But it is more than that. It is more than that. It caters to three aspects of application delivery, which is the security, performance, and the availability of the web application through a subscription model. Now let's talk about the main function of Cloud WAF. Well, if you will ask me if I would compare a WAF to a network firewall inspects the source and destination of a connection request, while the web application firewall inspects what is being requested and the context of the request. Also, I would like to add that a network firewall inspects or works on the layer 3 to layer 7 of the OSI layer, and a WAF focuses on the layer 7 or on the application layer. So it is a two disparate solution that works hand in hand. Now, Imperva Cloud WAF consists of multiple checking. As I mentioned in my previous slide, it has a multiple checking if the connection request is valid. It blocks on the request phase, so the bad traffic doesn't reach your web application. That consumes your server and network resources. We don't want that. And you can do it by blocking unwanted IPs, regions, and even prohibiting connections from a country completely. It can also detect if the connection request comes from a human or automatically initiated by a bot. The main function of Cloud WAF is to block the top 10 OS, which includes SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and the likes. Every web application is unique, and we have this homegrown web applications. As I mentioned, every web application is unique, and that is why in Imperva Cloud WAF, it has an application profiling that falls under the positive security model. And I would say that after the application profiling, we can create a policy that is highly customizable or custom fit to our homegrown web application. So we don't need to worry if it is a homegrown web application. I would also like to include the bot mitigation. We have this functionality that differentiate the good bots from the bad bots, and allowing only the good bots to enter our web application or to access our web application, because we need to allow these good bots that are being used by the search engines, for example, for them to be used for indexing. When you subscribe to Imperva Cloud WAF, you can benefit from the advantages it brings you. One is the crowdsourcing. You can have the latest signature and be protected from the latest attack trend globally. These updates includes the layered security of Imperva Cloud WAF, and these updates are updated in real time and will be shared to all the users of Imperva. These users are sharing the same signature, so all can be protected at the same time. Another advantage is the subscription model that requires no hardware or software deployed on-prem that also needs maintenance. So we can save on the capex, if we will talk about the capex. And then with Imperva Cloud WAF, you can have security deployed within minutes. And with its managed service, it doesn't require immediate in-depth knowledge on how WAF works. So we can already enjoy the security that it brings. So another feature of Imperva Cloud WAF is that it has a DDoS protection. Before we tackle or we discuss what Imperva brings on the table, I would like to discuss what is a DDoS attack. Well, it is defined as a DDoS attack involves multiple connected online devices, collectively known as a botnet, which are used to overwhelm a target website with a fake traffic. Basically, a DDoS attack sends a connection request to a server repeatedly over a period of time until it consumes all the computing resource of the server, taking it down and making it unusable. So that's how a DDoS attack works. Now, we have two kinds of DDoS attacks. First is the network layer DDoS that I mentioned earlier. And then if the security solutions evolves, the attacks also become sophisticated as well. Now, DDoS business grew. You can subscribe to a DDoS attack service, and it evolved to a more sophisticated type of attack, as I mentioned. We now have the application layer DDoS attack that is harder to detect because of its behavior. Well, the typical or the network firewall cannot detect it since the network firewall only inspects the source and destination. While so that is why we need a solution that understands or works on the upper layer, or which is on the application layer. Another definition of this application layer attack is it crafts its connection, its request to appear like a legitimate connection request that mimics a real user, and connection requests are sent in a random manner over a period of time. So it is not a volumetric type of connection. Slowly, it consumes all the resources of the server until it takes down the server. Well, in Imperva, we give you a layered DDoS protection from layer 3 to layer 7 of the OSI. It protects not only the web server, but it also has a DDoS protection for other servers that uses different protocols such as FTP, SIP, SMTP, and DNS. So we have a complete protection of your whole infrastructure. In Imperva, we have the biggest anti-DDoS scrubbing data centers. We place it strategically in every continent. It has now, if I'm up to date, we have now 51 point of presence or POPs that scrubs the connection and blocks the DDoS that can block up to 9 terabytes of capacity. We have this data center that also acts as a content delivery data center for optimized delivery of web applications, which brings me to the next feature of Cloud WAF, to my next topic, the optimization functionality of Imperva Cloud WAF. We now have first we have the CDN optimizer. Now let's talk about how this optimizes our application delivery. This is a scenario when a user from a different region requests a web page that the connection goes through a multiple hubs to the point the content is delivered to the user. So that's the initial connection. When the succeeding connection, the objects that were requested will be saved to our data center. Now, having this point of presence globally, user of the web applications are pointed to the nearest scrubbing data center that not only filters the connections, but also stores the objects of a website. Well, In this way, it reduces the time process of delivering the web application objects. So it is optimized. And we also have this um, compression that makes the object um, minimal, that it can send immediately to the network because it has a minimal size. Impervious data center can also serve the objects to the user faster without requesting it from the web user every time it is requested. Well, from time to time, Imperva Cloud Buff or data center checks the original web server for updates on these objects. But if there are no updates, um, the connection or the objects are stored in Imperva data center. And if someone requests it or the succeeding request, Imperva can immediately deliver it to the user. And for the last feature that I would like to talk about is the load balancing and failover functionality of Imperva. Well, in Imperva Cloud Buff, we can perform load balancing and failover of connections to multiple identical web application servers. It can also perform failover to a data center level. So we have three types of load balancing and failover. In this setting, there is a primary data center where the users are connecting. In an event that a disaster hit the primary data center, Imperva Cloud Buff can automatically redirect the connections to the secondary data center, and that's the first part, the failover. And then another capability of Imperva Cloud Buff is to load balance on a data center level, and that is what we call global server load balancing. Well, normally in a GSLB setup, there are two data centers or more. Then the secondary data center or DR sites are a replica of your primary data center. It is normally it is passively waiting for a disaster event to hit your primary data center before it will be activated manually. Take note of the manual, yeah. You will activate it manually. With Imperva, we can do it automatically without human intervention. Once that we detect that the primary data center is down, we can automatically activate the secondary data center. Well, truth be told, it is seldom for administrators to test if that secondary data center will function when it is activated because it is hard for them to manually activate it. Well, in Imperva, we can do it automatically. Another one is in Imperva Cloud Buff. You can utilize your secondary data center. Well, it will not passively wait for a disaster to happen, but we can activate it to receive traffic. This makes your investment, or we can maximize your investment with this kind of setup. We can do the active data center. So your secondary data center can serve users of your web application. Well, this user request will be forwarded to your nearest data center or the healthiest or the fastest data center that can reply to the user request. And this gives optimization on your web application delivery. Well, that is the end of my slide. Thank you very much. Again, I am Ralph Alzaga, and that is the Imperva Cloud WAF. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ralph Alzaga, for sharing your knowledge and experience on defending enterprises from cyber attacks. If anyone has questions for Mr. Alzaga, please just type them into our chat box and our speakers will respond to them in our Q&A segment later on. To show how we appreciate you all being here with us today, we have a surprise raffle draw for you this morning. We have kept a sharp eye out for the early birds who logged into our episode before everyone else. Loving the excitement of these guys. To the first 5 people who logged into this event, thank you so much. We will be giving you 500 pesos worth of Grab vouchers. And here they are, our winners. Congratulations to our early bird winners. Fel Bacchiano II, Dennis Asa, JP De La Vega, Ramon Monzon III, and Arvin Dawis. Congratulations to our 5 early bird winners. Once again, that's 500 peso grab vouchers. Minimum spend 499. I'm just kidding. It's all yours. You'll be receiving your grab vouchers via email. And as for everyone else, don't you worry. You still have a chance to win a little something something in our next segment. So stay tuned. And now on to our next speaker. She is a technology consultant who has been supporting RSA in Southeast Asia for over 5 years. In this time, she has contributed to developing the threat intelligence and engine behind the NetWitness platform at the RSA headquarters in Bedford, Massachusetts. Prior to this, she served as an incident and response analyst for a Global 100 conglomerate company. Let us all welcome Ms. Jolene Lim.
Rapidly detect today's targeted attacks with RSA NetWitness platform. Can you see the forest for the trees? As a threat hunter, you need visibility into vast amounts of data to find the threats hiding across cloud, on-premise, and virtual infrastructures. With RSA NetWitness platform, you get the pervasive visibility you need to help your security team detect and respond to sophisticated threats faster and minimize business impact. RSA NetWitness platform combines unparalleled visibility with threat intelligence, business context, and state-of-the-art analytics. It automatically correlates disparate events and alerts, then scores each based on how likely it is to represent an actual attack. The business context makes it much easier for analysts to distinguish benign alerts from true threats, empowering them to prioritize the ones that pose the greatest business risk. RSA NetWitness platform also incorporates full security automation, orchestration, and response capabilities. It automates routine incident response tasks, provides full case management, and makes it easy for analysts to collaborate on investigations. By bringing all these capabilities together, RSA NetWitness platform goes way beyond traditional log-centric, compliance-focused SIMs to make your security team more efficient and effective. Do more with RSA NetWitness platform.
Hi, my name is Jolene. I'm from RSA and thank you for joining this session. The reality of the world that we live in is that the question we are always trying to answer is not, what if a threat infiltrates our environment, but the question has always been when a threat infiltrates our environment, right? So I personally believe that each security analyst or incident responder should be equipped with a tool that empower us to do smart decision in our SOC. So in today's session, we will go through some of the challenges security folks face today and how RSA can help in overcoming some of the challenges and how our customers benefit from our solution. Years ago, we spent a lot of time and money implementing system procedures to keep threats out. So we kind of realized that over time, the returns, are diminishing because we are always trying to play a catch-up game with our threat actors that actually bypass this perimeter defense. But on a positive note, we also found out that organizations that could contain a breach in just about under 200 days, were able to save a lot of this, impact cost, to about $1.12 million. And when we are looking at, near in the 2020s, the average time to take to contain a breach actually, was really lowered down, to about 73 days thereabout, from what, we have experienced in, many years ago. So this seems really simple. So, as we are talking about, some of these obstacle challenges, I'm sure, we face, a lot of us actually face it on a day-to-day basis. So first of all, threat landscape is getting more sophisticated, especially, with the situation we are moving, rapidly to the cloud. We are essentially, expanding our, attack surface to the cloud, beyond the on-premise servers that, we are, also used to be. The second key factors that is, making our, work so much harder was also because, detection continues to be a hit and miss. So, we rely so heavily on log-centric, SIEMs that we are losing out on visibility, where there are many good other data points that could help to augment our visibility, when we are doing our day-to-day investigation work. So in the last point, we talk about remediation. So a lot of the times we are, still trying to figure out in terms of remediation, how could we make it more effective as, manual correlation, or analyst has been spending a lot of time understanding what exactly happens in a security incident, and how does it affect the business. As such, this goes back to the previous slide that we saw that, roughly, a security operation will take around 200 days to kind of investigate and contain the threat, effectively. So this is a typical security incident process that you may or may not have implemented in your organization, but I'm sure this, doesn't look too, unfamiliar to you. So typically from a security incident process, we monitor, or your SOCs are monitoring the alerts, that was formed into incidents. So from the incidents perspective, this is where, you as a tier one analyst, you collect data or you triage more on the incident. So if it's a confirmed incident, this is where you pull in your tier two to do more investigation, or, doing forensic analysis, or mapping it with, any corporate compliance policies that you may have. So if it's a false positive, this is where we will close the tickets as false positive. But what goes beyond, when this is a true incident, that, after your tier two investigate, hey, this is a confirmed incident. So this is where it will, branch off to more in-depth incident response steps, which most often than not, we are, tasked with the key responsibility in determining whether is this a critical incident or not. If this is a critical incident, I would like to contain it. So, or say for example, ransomware, and do a lot of the scoping to see who in my environment has also the same same files or ransomware files that has yet to be detonated. Or if this is not a critical incident, and I have done my scoping, I will proceed to do remediation, for the ticket itself. So if this is a confirmed incident, I would also like to know if this is, any data is exfiltrated, especially if you are a financial institution. You will need to know whether this the data leak, is it, our customers' private information, or is it, say for example, a piece of information that may or may not be, quite crucial to the organization. So if data is exfiltrated, this is where typically, as security teams, we would then kickstart, a process called the breach response management, where, we pull in different stakeholders like the legal, HR, etc., and executives to determine what is the impact of this, security incident. So once we have determined the impact, this is where, part of the breach management response process also, includes the external and internal notification of the stakeholder. So what, in this quick summary, we can see that from a day-to-day perspective for a security operations center team, or even a four-man security team or one-man security team, this is absolutely a huge amount of things that, we need to do on a day-to-day basis. And imagine, having to do it repetitively over and over again for multiple alerts in a single day. So in RSA, what we believe in, we believe in, having complete visibility for early detection. So this is where, how do we help organizations? Organizations should have a way to identify and investigate attacks really quickly with, multiple data points that, really could augment the decision-making process. So this is where, ideally, we always advocate that organizations should at least collect three out of the four packet sources or data sources right over here. So what we do to help customer is that, when we collect the data sources or the information, we kind of have them pass through and create metadata at the time of acquisition. So this is part of a normalization process in a way that it kind of streamline a lot of the data points that your analyst is looking at. So say for example, if I'm looking at if I'm investigating a particular IP address, I would like to know everything that that this the data that is associated with this IP address. Doesn't matter if it's logs, packets, or endpoint, etc. So when data is being collected from your on-premise, from your cloud application, from anywhere, from your threat intelligence, this is where you augment your security warriors with the visibility so that they are able to add additional context to what they are investigating. Apart from visibility, the second pillar that RSA advocates is also, having analytics to be to run in parallel as we are collecting the data, because, with analytics, we are able to detect and analyze, the attacks that could potentially impact your business. So the great data that has been collected in the first stage, we would like to have it, analyzed through a singular model. So it doesn't matter it is a logs or packets, so long as it's normalized. This is where you want to increase the accuracy of your detection models, by using the machine learning capabilities that is augmenting with it. And this really streamlines a lot of this detection. Reason being, this is where you would notice that you are essentially doing away with the need to create content as and when that to keep up with the pace of the tactics, techniques, and procedures. So in the last pillar of what RSA always advocate is that we want to be able to also do fast threat remediation. So say for example, if I have a incident that comes into the platform or any security platform that you are using, ideally you would like to focus on the threat that matters to you the most. So in a way that makes it that having a prioritization based on threat intelligence or any contextual intelligence is important. So once we have collected the data and analyze it, this is where we put in through the last process of prioritization. So say for example, if this incident is coming from a critical server farm that will impact the data, your business operations, ideally any incidents that come in should have a higher priority over the others, so on and so forth. So this is where once we have the incident that has been prioritized, this is also how we want to look into automation of the evidence collection or automating the remediation and response procedures. So for example, blocking a firewall within the within your platform itself. So one of the I would say trends that we are seeing in the field these days is that a lot of the organizations are pivoting into a big data strategy. So essentially, they want to be able to collect a lot of as they are collecting a lot of this data, they also want to have a way to have all this very good data being pumped into a data lake, so that your data analytics team or your SOC team is able to further use this data and have it kind of processed into something that that would bring good to the organization in the longer run. So from the RSA NetWitness perspective, we are a suite of solutions that is able to meet a lot of the challenges that the SOC or your security team is facing today. So first off, part of this, we are made up of 4 different products. So first off, we have NetWitness Logs. That is essentially the SIEM pillar in the whole suite product. So following it, augmenting the logs, this is where we have NetWitness Network, that is our network detection and response, component that very nicely, augment the NetWitness logs in terms of, say for example, if I want to confirm whether the incident has occurred, or what malware has been downloaded, I'm able to go to my network to get a copy of the PCAP data or the file that has been traversing through the wire. So third key data component is also the RSA NetWitness endpoint, which is our endpoint detection and response pillar. So this is where customers are able to deploy agents onto your user's laptop or your organization's asset, to have continuously monitoring done from the endpoint layer. The next piece that very nicely analyze all the data that we have been collecting in the last three pillar of technology is our NetWitness Detect AI, which brings us the capability of machine learning analytics and having a lot of this unsupervised machine learning to augment what your SOC or your content engineering that has been built onto your analytics box. So essentially, this is detecting threats without a lot of the manual tuning that may or may not be a luxury to a small security team. So wrapping it up, when we talk about remediation, we talk about threat intelligence. This is where the RSA NetWitness Orchestrator, it's within the platform to help to coordinate faster response. Essentially, as we are talking about threat intelligence, we are talking about automated actions. So NetWitness Orchestrator is essentially the security orchestration, automation, and response component that we have within the family of within the product family. So some of the some of us here might be curious on RSA, where have we done this before in some of the customers that we see. So first off, allow me to share one of the customers that we have with whom is Infosys. So their goals is to protect the vast global infrastructures that they have today, and also to manage a lot of the user access rights for applications with the visibility that they have. So their goals is also to accommodate the massive business scale within their limited overhead. So Infosys itself, I think we are no stranger to them. They are a multinational corporation that is headquartered in India, and they operate in more than 50 countries with over 200,000 people working for Infosys. So this is where with the vast amount of employees, one of their challenges is also how do we actually manage access for the 200,000 people that we employ, and also collect data of them so that I'm able to know what are the threats that is concerning, or that it's that to prioritize within these 200,000 people that we employ. So the challenges that they have is also if we look at a massive scale like Infosys, they are definitely looking at if you're collecting logs or even doing a pure logging kind of sim, they are looking at 600,000 events per second, which is it's really hard to decipher whether is this a real threat risk or is this a false positive that that they have. So this is where Infosys, they actually use NetWitness platform to provide a complete view across their entire network. Doesn't matter it's cloud or on-premise. So with the data they have collected, they actually do massive correlation against the data. And when they are investigating the threat, that actually helps them to very much quickly prioritize what they are investigating and to make sound decision whether, hey, should we be blocking this person off the network because this person may be sitting in US and it's that may not be doing what this person should be doing, in terms of security perspective. So the second customer that we are looking at today is the Busan Bank, which is top bank in South Korea, and it's headquartered in Busan with roughly 3,000 over employees and 260 branches across South Korea. So the goals of Busan Bank is, they want to be able to quickly identify attacks and to prioritize the resources to address the more critical incidents first. So some of the challenges that they are facing is also they are unable to leverage all data to identify the incident, and they are unable to prioritize incidents for immediate responses. So this is also where they use the NetWitness platform to allow real-time visibility that, to let them gain, to see real-time visibility across their bank's network, be it on-premise or cloud application. So that really helps them to speed up a lot of the investigation work that they always do, and especially when we are looking at prioritization of incidents where you have over 3,000 employees, definitely we need a mechanism to have a lot of this incident prioritized so that your analysts can work on threats that really matter to you and will impact you the most. So as we are wrapping up today's session, earlier on we talked about some of the challenges that security teams have today and how NetWitness advocates, and what are the things that NetWitness advocates to help customers in meeting the challenges that we have mentioned. And last but not least, we talk about some of the customer stories that the NetWitness, the RSA NetWitness, some of the stories that the RSA NetWitness customers have. So if there is any question, feel free to let us know. And thank you for joining the session once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jolene Lim, for sharing with us your expert insights on how to manage cybersecurity risks in the enterprise setting. As promised, we will now reveal the winners of our biggest smile contest. The smiles that blew us our way belong to, here are the 5 winners: Carmen Finiquito, Dennis Asa, Renee Manalo, Jason Cariaga, and JP De La Vega. Congratulations to our 5 winners. Big congratulations to the biggest smile winners. We hope you'll continue to enjoy the rest of our show. Thank you so much for making the happiness infectious to us. Now, let's go back to our last speaker for this episode. He's a senior manager for services and security operations at Nexus Guard. We have with us this morning Mr. Mandy Tupas, who has been in the network and security operations industry for almost 15 years. He's had a front seat view of the evolution of DDoS attacks from way back when they were few and simple to the incredibly complex versions we see today. A proven frontliner, he is well-versed in supporting the global market to ensure that online threats are mitigated and online services are made available. Let us all welcome Mr. Mandy Tupas of Nexus Guard.
Thank you for the introduction, Charlotte. That was very humbling, specifically the veteran part. No? So let me just share my screen. Good morning. On behalf of Nexus Guard, we would like to thank Rageous for giving us this opportunity to share our annual DDoS attack threat report for year 2021. Today, we will go through the DDoS attack landscape for the greater part of year 2021. We will be seeing the DDoS attack vectors and relevant information that would help us have a glimpse on where we are in dealing with various threats that could cripple us once we become a target. To highlight, we are here to inform and share our actual experience in the field of DDoS attack mitigation. The following data that we will be sharing are based on accumulated information gathered from our platform, then compiled by our research team for public sharing. Lastly, we will be sharing a case study, which happened a couple of weeks back to one of our clients under the financial industry. We will share the actual incident with a little limited information.
Recording stopped.
But we will freely share the handling done by our team to ensure the effectiveness of our service. To begin with, just a quick introduction on Nexus Guard. Nexus Guard is a Singapore-based company, a leading cloud-based provider in doing DDoS mitigation services, founded in 2008 by a group of individuals with a common goal of addressing the rise of DDoS attacks in the whole cyberspace. Through the years, Nexus Guard have been backbone by a strong people, process, and technology foundation, leading the way in providing a high quality of service to our partners and clients. Nexus Guard has an environment that is capable of remote detection and has a multi-layered mitigation deployment that would be able to mitigate attacks on the network, transport, and application layers as defined by the OSI model. Our team has been dedicated in analyzing threats for us to be made ready in defending all types of DDoS attacks, from known attack patterns to zero-day attacks, making us a step ahead in making sure that our technology is kept up to date and reliable for our partners and clients. Nexus Guard, being a seasoned veteran in the industry, was recently acknowledged to be the best DDoS defense for 2021 by CyberSec Asia. Other major technology research organizations also noted that Nexus Guard truly lives to its name. With its 13 years of experience, backed by high-capacity scrubbing centers located globally, reaching to 2.24 terabits per second of total capacity, manned by a pool of highly talented individuals that oversee our security operations 24/7. To add on to that, just to share, our security operations center is currently situated in the Philippines. It's located in Carmona, Cavite. It's billeted at TimCorp. They are the ones who are supporting our global partners and clients. Through the years, Nexus Guard has been compliant with both ISO and PCI DSS standards, ensuring our partners and clients that our service meets the gold standards in providing security operations. Also, to provide a high level of support, Nexus Guard is certified under customer service quality standards, having our processes within our daily operations fully compliant to ensure a high rating of customer satisfaction. Nexus Guard has 9 major scrubbing centers, supported by 8 scrubbing centers within our partners' infrastructure. These are strategically located to vital points in the globe, making sure that optimal performance will be delivered to our end clients. As of October 2021, We are expecting 11 more scrubbing centers to be completed within the next months, helping to expand our scope. Now, introduction's done. How about we move forward to the 2021 DDoS attack report? In the past year, we saw a notable trend wherein attackers launched DDoS attacks to single targets within a service provider. Looking at attack size, it has an increase of 544% quarter on quarter and 232% year on year. According to our research team, several attacks reached more than 500 gigs of bandwidth. This was recorded back in 2021, peak of which would be 586 gig. That's to a single target. So I would just like to clarify that it's just to a single target and it's not an aggregated volume. So on top of that, our records show that 2,962 attacks were over 100 gig, and 291 attack cases actually exceeded 400 gig of volumetric traffic. Due to the dramatic increase of attack size, there was actually a shift to using high penetration volumetric attacks, which can lead to additional impact if not properly mitigated. As shown in the table, the common targets that were primarily web services and mobile services. Without a robust DDoS mitigation strategy in place, these attacks are enough to knock most of these online services offline. Moreover, large volume of attack traffic can cause an overload on a service provider equipment and bandwidth. Attackers opted to employ high penetration volumetric attacks such as TCP/ACK and UDP attacks rather than amplification attacks, since the signatures can be easily blocked by source IPs as an example. No? So of the volumetric attacks that were employed, TCP/ACK and UDP attacks accounted for almost 55% of all the attacks for last year. One of the reasons behind adopting such attacks lies in the design of service providers. TCP/ACK and UDP traffic can be transmitted from the attack source to a specific target very efficiently, since upstream providers tend not to interfere with passing traffic with this kind of traffic when it contains such packets and patterns. Before we continue, just a quick definition of or differentiation on what's an amplification and a high penetration attack. So let me define an amplification-based attack. This is a DDoS attack that comes in high volume. It's usually reflected. So this is enough to saturate the whole resource of a service provider. Common attack types are the memcache and TP floods, which are usually UDP traffic, which are using UDP traffic. All of which are usually sourced from known attack sources, and they use basic attack patterns. To further visualize for amplification attacks, it can be easily blocked by upstream providers. This can be done by applying several security countermeasures, which would effectively match the attack pattern for known amplification attacks. As shown in the diagram, if an amplification attack is targeting a specific service, nowadays, service providers are compliant on having these types of DDoS attacks to be filtered and mitigated at the border. This would avoid further impact to the provider's infrastructure, resulting to the attack being stopped right at the beginning or right at the entry point. Therefore, this will not cause any impact to targeted services. Now, moving on to high penetration attacks. High penetration attacks are attacks that could easily pass through standard countermeasures applied by upstream providers since they mimic actual user behavior. To have this addressed, a proper attack mitigation approach would need to be done to ensure that filters, countermeasures are properly tuned to match the attack vector that is being sent over to a targeted service. This type of attack can range from a small to a large scale, causing major impact, not just to the target, but also to the network of the service provider, of a service provider. Now, large volume of traffic hitting a service provider not only denies access to various services, but also causes considerable impact to its network. No? So once a CSP or once a service provider network have been severely affected by an attack, the usual action point or the first point of action is to block all the destination IP. However, if the corresponding service provider has no DDoS mitigation backup plan in place, a change of attack pattern or anything that an easy change of attack vector can still cause online services to become unavailable. So for critical online services and VIP customers that are under attack, offering a block holing method is not the ideal solution, given that this would give competitors who are able to offer a whole suite of DDoS mitigation solutions a competitive advantage. That being said, no, so DDoS mitigation solutions do have a limitation, particularly when it comes to dealing with these kinds of packet-based attacks. Now, this will boil down to the capability of the service provider on how they would provide a proper DDoS mitigation service. Not only relying on the technology, but also the capability of the provider to adapt to such types or to different types of DDoS attacks. Now, coming back to the report, for year 2021, UDP and TCP-based attacks, they dominate our attack vector summary, representing 33 and 22% respectively. UDP attacks, actually, they decreased by 48% quarter on quarter, while they increased 32% year on year. For TCP attacks or TCP-based attacks, they had an increase of 188% quarter on quarter and 811% year on year. Now, for UDP fragmentation, this has been ranked third with 18.57%, and it did show an increase of 145% quarter on quarter, and for year on year, it did increase by 308%. Now, I'll just like to discuss a bit on user datagram protocol or UDP. Okay, so for UDP-based attacks, these types of attacks can quickly overwhelm the defenses of unsuspecting targets. Now, the key to mitigating these types of attack is speed in detection, and then, of course, the response. UDP attacks, not UDP, but UDP attacks frequently serves as a smokescreen to mask other malicious activities, such as efforts to compromise personal identifiable information or execution of malwares, even remote codes. No? So when a large number of UDP packets hit a targeted network, number one, bandwidth will definitely be congested. And number two, the resources of the server or of the target will definitely be overwhelmed, ultimately making them inaccessible. During the past year, 67% of attacks were smaller than 1 gig. 15.45% of attacks were equal and larger than 10 gig. The maximum size increased by 544% quarter on quarter and 232% year on year. For the average size of an attack for last year, it did increase by 105% quarter on quarter, but it did decrease by 25% year on year. Now, relating back to the previous slides, the largest attack recorded stood at almost 600 gig for a single target. This could easily bring down any infrastructure for such a case. Again, I would like to reiterate the importance of the synchronization of people, process, and technology of a DDoS mitigation service provider. Since this would not just rely on how good of a box that you have, but would also need the expertise of network security engineers to adapt to the situation, making sure that proper countermeasures are applied and no attack traffic would leak through. Looking at attack durations, for year 2021, attack durations, they lasted fewer than 90 minutes. Would be around 84.45%. The rest of which was longer than 90 minutes. No, so around 4% of attacks were longer than 1,200 minutes. Now, here's the thing: the quarterly duration of an attack, it averaged around 159 minutes. Surprising, no? While the longest attack lasted for 11,173 minutes. Okay, or if we convert it to hours, it's around 186 hours. So it took that long. In conclusion, attackers have devised numerous ways to magnify DDoS attack size to cause maximum damage to their targets. UDP-based amplification attacks, these were commonly employed. For example, memcache, no? They had an amplification factor of up to 51,000. While other attacks like DNS and TP, they had amplification factors from maybe a little smaller, 50 to 500, close to 600 times. No? However, since amplification attacks use amplifiers to reflect and increase attack scale, these, along with the signatures, once identified, can be easily blacklisted and dropped. To circumnavigate this, threat actors shifted their focus away from amplification attacks by sending high penetration attack packets. These were received by service provider networks and targets that were able to paralyze due to the high influx of traffic. These attack packets were also able to bypass current DDoS mitigation defenses of various service providers. As 2021 closed, service providers, end users, everyone, all of us, we will need to focus on improving and adopting best industry practices in order to maintain the availability of our online services. These practices should include deploying advanced protection strategies that would respond quickly to a multitude of attacks, as well as a regular test on our defense model to confirm if they can fully protect networks or services from various attack types. Now, let me move on to our case study. This is going to be a quick one. This event happened last March 5. One of our end clients in the financial industry was targeted with a high penetration flood using UDP traffic, targeting their online services. The client was actually targeted by a UDP flood. Initially, the scale was around a few hundred megs. I think that was around 600, 700 the most. Pretty small scale. And we did mitigate. We initially mitigated this volumetric attack. Unfortunately, there was a leak through traffic of around 10 to 15 megs. This 10 to 15 megs of traffic was enough to cripple several targets, impacting the online services of the client. Now, since the leak through traffic was of a small scale, initially it was treated as a legitimate traffic. But later on, when services were further validated, it was confirmed that the traffic on that small scale were still attacks that are killing the client's services. Immediate remediation was done by our team to mitigate the remainder of the attacks. Our team initiated a deep packet analysis. These are coming from flow sample data to identify the attack patterns that has been leaking. Some of this information may pertain to packet length, source IP, TCP flags, or UDP flags, or payload, so on and so forth. So all of this information are being analyzed by our team to identify what is the attack pattern. After which, several mitigation countermeasures would need to be activated to precisely match the identified patterns. Now, once applied, the mitigation platform would immediately scrub the remaining attack traffic, and a few minutes later, the services of the client went back to normal. Now, this case study demonstrates the importance of having a strong people, process, and technology foundation. These three would need to be hand in hand to be successful in mitigating various types of DDoS attacks. One can barely survive without the other. Since, as we know, the continuous evolution of threats will never end. With that said, the value of having a service provider who is versed in doing DDoS mitigation services would play an important role to each online asset of an organization. At the end of the day, nobody knows who will be the next target. But if we take a step forward and be ready for that day, then we have one less worry for our business as we all move towards digital transformation. Thank you everyone for your time, and I hope I was able to enlighten everyone about our 2021 DDoS attack landscape.
That insightful take on combating cybersecurity attacks in 2022. Thank you so much. It looks like we have a few questions already up in our chat box. So it's time for our question and answer segment with our speakers. And here they are, our speakers. Once again, we have Mr. Al Solis from Radius, Mr. Edgy Gutierrez from TIM, Mr. Ralph Alzaga, Imperva, Mr. Nick Comonsuan, who will be standing in for Ms. Jolene Lim from RSA, and Mr. Mandy Tupas from Nexus Guard. Thank you so much, speakers, for being here today. And let's check from the chat box some questions. All right, so this question is directed to Mr. Mandy Tupas about the DDoS. Mr. Mandy, what is the deployment of Radius DDoS?
Okay. So I got to be first in line. Thank you. The deployment that Radius will be using will be our origin protection services. So this deployment specializes in mitigating attacks in the network and transport layer 3, layer 4 of the OSI model. This is established by having GRE tunnels and then do BGP peerings with our global scrubbing centers, and then prefixes or services of the clients will be swung over to this BGP peerings. So that Nexus Guard will be the front line of all incoming traffic for us to mitigate and for us to differentiate legit or legitimate traffic and malicious traffic. Now, upon mitigation or after mitigation, what's going to happen is that Nexus Guard will just pass the traffic back to Radius, clean as it goes. It's everything will be back to normal. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Mandy, and thank you, Alexis. I think that was the question of Alexis. We have another question for you, Mr. Mandy, while we're at it already. What is the typical response time upon detection of DDoS attack?
Okay, so our platform, we actually use remote detection. No, so we have several modes of detection. We have the normal detection, which usually takes around 2 to 3 minutes of response time for the platform to react. Okay. We also do rapid detection, wherein it has a response time of 10 to 15 seconds. And it trigger after it gets triggered, everything follows. So our mitigation follows, the prefix announcement. Sorry, the prefix announcement follows, the mitigation follows, and then everything will just act accordingly. No. Now, we also have what we call our smart mode detection. So our smart mode detection is an AI-based detection model wherein it has the capability to identify known attack patterns already. So once they are able to identify this in a span of 30 seconds to 90 seconds max, it will be the one to trigger all of the mitigation capabilities or the mitigation countermeasures accordingly. That is from the platform level. From an SOC perspective, we are confident that we can inform and coordinate events to our clients within 5 minutes. On our SLA, we say it's 15. Let's put that aside. Let's focus on the capability or the strength of our fellow Filipinos who are based in the TIM working in our SOC, that they can respond faster within 5 minutes. All of this can be coordinated to our clients. They will be informed on what's happening, and they will make sure that the services of the clients will be made available, during an event of a DDoS attack. So I hope I was able to clarify that. Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you, Mr. Mandy. But I think we have follow-up questions from the comment section. From Carl, does this mean that we Radius clients are DDoS protected? And then Renee also added, yung cloud failover niyo po ba? MS downtime. How many MS downtime? I think that's what it means. Sorry for the technical jargon I'm not familiar with. Mr. Mandy?
Okay. So there are specific services within Radius that are already protected. No, so we have an initial engagement with Radius that they have their direct internet access bundled with DDoS mitigation services as we speak. I may not say that it's all, but I believe a great number of it will be covered by Radius already. Now, I believe the question for the next question, I believe the question is how many milliseconds would be the change when using Nexus Guard services? I'm just trying to patch the question by myself here. You might need to help me here, but milliseconds latency, I believe would be the question. If we are looking at services within the Philippines, if DDoS attacks are being mitigated within our infrastructure here in Asia, there is very minimal change when it comes to latency. Okay, so this is for the reason that our global scrubbing centers are located strategically so that it would be able to provide non-latency non-latency related concerns to our service provider, to our clients. Okay, so we are tiered. NexusGuard is tiered with all of the tier one ISPs globally. So we are confident that in terms of performance, if there would be a change, most probably it's just on the mitigation 5-10 milliseconds because of the packet analysis. But other than that, in terms of network performance, there would be not much difference.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manny Tupas, for all of those
You're welcome.
answers. And thank you for all of our members here at the comment section, Mr. Carl and Renee, for your questions. And now we would like to direct the spotlight to somebody else, or one of our speakers, Mr. Ralph Alzaga. You are up with a question. The question is, what does the Radius WAF service protect against?
Okay. Thank you for that question. Well, I will get straight to the point. The Cloud WAF service protects the web application, since the WAF functions on the layer 7 of the OSI, which is the application layer. It protects the applications on the top 10 OWASP, of the top 10 OWASP project. Well, the top 10 OWASP is a, a, a collection of, or a document that provides the ranking and the remediation and guidance for the top 10 most critical web application security risk. And the report is based on a consensus among security experts from around the world. Um, Aside from the top 10 OWASP, it also protects the web application from exploitations of the vulnerabilities of the web application, whether the connection request is intentional or unintentional. Because uh, I mentioned unintentional, our administrators or the users can access this um, portion of our web application that unknowingly there are vulnerabilities. So with that, we can protect it from those exploitations, from that unintentional exploitations. Well, in summary, it protects our web application, and as I mentioned, this is part of the digital transformation uh, that our companies are going to, and and this summarized in protecting our company brand, because if we are, especially if our products and services are into digital form, we need the trust of our users. Protecting we need to protect those or our web application. And basically, the summary is it protects our web application from this from the application layer attacks.
Saga, for that. While we're at it, do you mind answering one more question?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. The other question is, what detection techniques are used?
Okay, if we will talk about the techniques, we have a lot of techniques to talk about, and our time is not enough to discuss all the techniques. But I would like to summarize these techniques into two um, aspects. We have the negative security model. Um, Under the negative security model is the signatures. We compare this connection request. If it is an attack, we have a database of the known attacks, and we will block it if there is a match. On the other hand, on the positive security model, we profile it. We deploy WAF in learning mode and studies the context of the web application and profiles it. Well, basically, we whitelist after learning all the objects or elements that consist our web application. We will create a whitelist of what can only be accessed on the web application. For example, the URLs that we will allow our users to access, the file types, the parameters, or the error codes, etc. So basically, we protect it from the connection request up to the server response, and we monitor all, since Imperva Cloud Buff sits in between the user and the web application. So anything that passes through from the request to the response, we monitor it, and we have control on what can be accessed by the user, and what will be the response of the web application server.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ralph, for clarifying those questions. And I'm sure the audience now are more clarified about it. Would like to move on to the SIEM questions directed to Mr. Nick Comonsuan. Hello, Mr. Nick. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great to hear that. So we've got a question, and the question is, where is the solution delivered from, and where is my data stored?
So far, the solution, the data is restored in country. We put the solution at the team data center. So the question is, where is the data delivered? Is delivered in the country from TIM, and where's the data restored? The data, all the log collection will be stored at the solution data center on premise. And I guess that the question will be like, is that the data stores in on-premise or in the cloud, or are we providing the cloud solution or just the on-premise solution? The answer is we are providing the on-premise solution at this moment. But I say also have on cloud as well. In case of customers who would like to put the data on the cloud, we also have SIEM cloud as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nick. We have a follow-up question to that. And the question is, what happens to my data after the end of the contract?
Well, this depends on the clients. The data will be stored at the our solution on premise until we get the instruction to delete it. If this is on premise, but if it is on cloud, because we need a space, we won't keep the data for customers. This depends on the conversations or agreement between us and the clients.
Thank you, Mr. Nick. For the final question, it's from the comment section. It says, is the solution scalable?
Yes, of course, this solution can be scalable in terms of if you look at the SIEM log management, the data can be extended. Our solution, our platform can be extended by adding the numbers of the collectors, numbers of the storage, right? While the analytics servers or correlation servers still remains not move or not adding because there is the centers, but we can scale up from collectors and storage. And this is within the SIEM, but if the customers are looking for a stock platform, yes, of course, we scalable in terms of the stock platform, like a full packet capture to NDR, machine learnings, NDRs, EDRs, or even the SOAR for orchestrations. That's the scalable in terms of the within SIEM or within the stock platform.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nick, for answering our questions about SIEM. And thank you, Alexis, for the question in the chat box. And for our final speaker, Mr. Al Solis, we have some questions about the SICAS service. Hi, Mr. Al.
Hi. Hello.
Hi. So the question is, if we are to subscribe for the full SICAS service of Radius, how long is the typical onboarding of the customer to have all the services activated? And if there is a minimum contract term? This is from Brian in the comment section.
Normally for this kind of solutions, I really have to engage closely with the end customers. But it really take on the complexity of the requirement. And of course, we will be needing our partner TIM to help us to provide the immediate timetable for us to implement the solutions. But in terms of contract, normally we have a minimum of 12 months contract to at least 3 years contract, depending on the requirement of the customers.
Thank you so much, Mr. Al. And I think we have one last question from the audience members. Question for Sir Edgy. For existing TIM customers' data centers, can they easily avail of the Radius SICAS?
Sorry, what's the question?
Oh, sorry. The question by Alan is, for existing TIM customers' data centers, can they easily avail of the Radius SICAS?
Definitely. The fact that we are serving as the product factory of our partner radios in terms of providing security services to clients. And today we're launching our first three, our managed stock, our RSA, Nexus Guard, and Imperva. And definitely they can avail of the services.
We have one last question, and this one is going to Sir Nick. Sir Nick, for RSA, how many messages per second RSA CM can handle?
Well, so far, this is a very good question, but let me put this way. I give you the client reference. In Thailand, we help the governments doing the government SOCs. So far, we received or we handle totally is 300,000 event per sec. It is 150,000 active and active from the data center 1 and data center 2. So they are D1, DC1, and DC2 active and active. So answer to question, so far we handle 300,000 event per sec within our solutions.
Thank you, Sir Nick. And that question was from Mr. Fendi. Thank you, Sir Fendi. We'd like to move on to the final question. This is the contract included retention of data, audits like who and why, accessing data policy? This is a comment by McJohn. I'm not sure who this is directed to. Anybody from the panel can answer this one. Any volunteers? Would you like me to answer that? I'm just kidding. I'll just wait for you to answer that. The question is the contract included retention of data, audits like who and why, accessing data policy? So I guess does the contract include retention of data? Okay, yes, please.
All right, let me jump in. So essentially, the services that we offer, we can definitely come up with terms or specific terms that would work for a client. So in terms of data retention or log retention, depending on the requirements due to regulatory concerns, we will be definitely flexible in terms of supporting or being compliant to that requirement. So I think the requirement will be very specific or very unique in terms of from one customer to another. So, but yes, the answer would be it really depends, but we can include that as part of the engagement.
Thank you, Mr. Edgy, and thank you, McJohn, for your comments, as well as everybody else in the chat box who asked our panelists questions. Thank you to our speakers once again. Looks like those are all of our questions for this morning. Thank you once again to Mr. Al Solis, Mr. Edgy Gutierrez, Mr. Ralph Alzaga, Ms. Jolene Lim, Mr. Nick Comonsuan, and Mr. Mandy Tupas for enlightening us. That was like an in-depth and insightful discussion that you led us thoroughly and gave us all quite an interesting take on cybersecurity and tactics on attack mitigation. If you have any more comments or questions, you may send an email or contact John F. Pontino at jopontino@radius.ph or 0928-551-0519. Ladies and gentlemen, the contact is already flashed on your screens. You may take a screenshot if you would like for the contact. And right now, we have come to the part where we deliver the closing remarks. We have with us the Vice President for Data Center Services, Sales and Operations at TIM, Mr. Edgy Gutierrez.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. First of all, I would like to congratulate Radius for the successful unboxing of their security as a service program. I would like to take this opportunity to personally thank Mr. Kiel Delgado, Mr. Al Solis, Mr. Beng Manahan, Mr. Jimmy Alcala, and the Radius family for inviting TIM and our partners today. I would also like to acknowledge our partners who joined us today. See Mr. Mandy Tupas of Nexus Guard, Ms. Jolene Lim of RSA, Mr. Nick Comonsuan of RSA, and Mr. Ralph Alzaga ng Imperva. And of course, I would like to thank all of our guests today. We're very excited to take the initial steps for there will be customers who haven't really started their journey towards strengthening the cybersecurity posture, but I'm sure that our customers have already started it. So regardless of where you are, through our partnership with Radius, we are very excited to engage, provide you insights depending on the business that you operate. No? There are two things lang na is very important when you try to assess your cybersecurity position. Impact to business and customer experience. Yesterday, I had a discussion with one of our customers. No, pumirma sila ng anti-DDoS, and they're telling me it really depends on the appetite of a client. No, you can tell that it really depends on the impact to business. If you're worried about data being stolen, your system being hacked or being encrypted to the point that you're unable to invoice clients, you're unable to sell your products and services, the impact to business will be really bad, no? But there will be customers wherein, okay, if this happens to me, for example, if DDoS happens to me, what will be the impact to business? Of course, customer experience will be hit. They will not be happy about, why is this a service slow and so on and so forth. So these are two things, and TIM in partnership with Radius, we would really like to have that focus or pocket sessions with customers who are interested. And we would really be happy to have that session with you so that we can assess, provide insights on where you are in terms of your cybersecurity positioning or posture. And who knows, we would be very happy to even conduct a POC of our services. Why are we doing this? A lot of the organizations today, they don't have the appetite because they really don't understand what's the impact of business. And may kasabihan, it's not really a question of if you're going to be attacked, but it's really a question of when. Now, some of you or most of you might have been hit already. There will be customers na baka wala pa, but we don't have to wait for that. We can actually engage with you. We can have that discussion with you so that we can assess what your infrastructure, ano yung mga possible vulnerabilities, and we can start with the VAPT, diba? And for those customers who have already established their perimeter security, they have already installed mga endpoint detection and response, then we would be happy to, kinocommit ko na, Sir Al, 1 month, for the first 5. For the first 5 clients today, who may interesado dito, we are very much willing to conduct a 1-month POC of our MSOC service. So cybersecurity, guys, is not just about, today we've shared with you 3 solutions, but cybersecurity is not just about one solution. It's about setting your controls, and yung controls ninyo, it will depend on the attack surface. Diba? So may nababanggit tayo about detecting attacks, responding to attacks. But what are the proactive ways really of preventing these attacks to happen? So meron ng apart from log collection for MSOC, DDoS mitigation, and application protection, may tinatawag na ngayong attack surface management. What is attack surface? Essentially, okay, ito yung mga areas where you can be attacked. Meron ka bang website exposed na wherein you do your transactions? May mga mobile applications ka ba na nag-run ng applications? These are attack surfaces na pwedeng atakihin. You might not be hit today. Siguro wala pang hindi pa concern yun today, but it will happen. So TIM, Sir Al, for the first 5, 1-month POC po for the MSOC para ma-experience for those customers na meron na, Tapos gusto nila makita yung ina-atake nila pero nabablock ng firewall. Tapos yung iba naman lumulusot, they need to remediate. These are things that we don't see if we don't have your MSOC. So kailangan nating we are very much willing to do that for you. And with that, again, thank you very much for the time. We are very excited. Pinaplano na ho namin yung Security as a Service 2.0, unboxing that, and hopefully soon, we'll see each other again. So maraming salamat at magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you so much, Mr. Edgy Gutierrez. And you know what? That's about it for today, everybody. That's going to be all. I hope you had a lot of learnings today, and I hope that you found ways now to shift from defense to offense. Thank you so much for spending your morning with us here at episode 4 of RaDex, Radius Digital Exchange, brought to you by Radius Telecoms and TIM. We hope to hear from you very soon. Enjoy the rest of your morning or afternoon. I'm Charlotte Ferguson signing off. Thank you, everyone.